Hi, I'm Chana Mizrahi, the owner and CEO of Wigs, and the topic of this video is how to and how not to store your wigs. So there are multiple correct ways and multiple incorrect, not ideal ways to store your wigs. So my preferred method, which I utilize in my salon and also in my personal collection, is grid wall panel. Obviously, these are very large ones. I have on my dresser top a much smaller version, a 2-foot tall, 1-foot wide version. I really like it because it's space saving. It takes up no space on the dresser top. It has its little feet that hold it, and then I could put other things around it. Also, because it's a grid wall, it has space for little baskets that I could use to hold things like hairbrushes, ponytail holders, claw clips, barrettes, other small accessories that aren't even related to hair or wigs. So I find that very convenient and space efficient. And then I have these holders, which I will show you. These holders, and I put a stocking. These are, you can find them on Amazon. They're hat racks on Amazon. You can find them as wig or hat racks. They're nice and sturdy, and they just hook right onto the grid wall panel of any size. For these, it doesn't matter the size of the grid wall panel. I have the same ones in my bedroom. And then I put nylon stockings on it to prevent the wigs from sliding off. That's what people used before there was such a thing as a wig grip. So this is a very good method that's not just space efficient, it's also very gentle on the wig. If you'll look at the way my grid wall panel is set up, you'll notice, where is the wig hanging from? Right here, the back of the wig. Let's look at where on the wig that is. Right here, not the lace. You don't ever want to be pulling from this part or even this part, because that is the most delicate, also the most visible part of the wig. So you want to avoid pressure or tension on that to avoid stretching. So any way that you hang or store your wig, you want to have it hanging like this. You could see where my fingers are, and here, like this, not like this, if that makes sense. So it doesn't have to be on a grid panel. That's my go-to method. But as I said, there is more than one right way. Another great method, if you are going to use a wig head, put a wig grip on it. The same velvet band that you use to hold your wig on. Make sure it's going in the right direction. I have another video on that, all about wig grips. If you haven't already seen it, that's a great one. But you want to make sure the velvet is smooth in the direction of the face, resistance away from the face. This will help hold the wig on very gently. It works better than T-pins or other pins because you have that hold all the way around, not just in the places where you put the pins. And unlike the pins, this is not going to pull anywhere or make any holes or stretching, which those will. So it's a win-win. You get better grip, and you don't make holes, and you don't stretch it out. With the pins, you don't hold it as well. You're just holding it from 2 or 3 places. You are making holes. You are stretching it out. Doesn't matter if it's a silk top or a lace top, same effect. Another option is you don't have to have it hanging on anything at all. You could just store it in one of these. I have clients who just keep it in a satin wig bag all the time and just lay it on a shelf. Some people choose to just lay it on a shelf. The downside to that, though, is it can get dusty. If it's in one of these, this will protect it from dust. Also can somewhat protect it from odors in the air. It won't totally protect it because this is breathable. So if you're in a smelly space, it's not gonna totally protect it, but it'll keep it somewhat fresh. So this is a better way to store it than just laying it on a shelf. But some people do just choose to lay it on a shelf. That also works. As a military wife, I spend a lot of time in hotel rooms, and depending where I am and how long I'm going to be there, sometimes I end up just laying my wig on a shelf or a table, and sometimes I end up keeping it in one of those, and sometimes I bring, I don't have one in here, but there are hanging collapsible plastic wig stands that you can hang from a closet rack, but those aren't so great for long-term storage. That's more of a travel thing. But for long-term storage, my preferred method is the grid panel. But if you are going to use a wig stand, again, do it with a wig grip, not with pins. I'm very against pins. So now we've talked about right ways. Let's talk about wrong ways. Besides the pins, we've already talked about that. I saw a lady who was storing her wigs with no pins and no wig grip, but with these pulled under the chin of the wig head and hooked together to hold it in place, like a chin strap. I'm not even going to imitate it because I don't want to damage this beautiful wig to imitate it. That's very bad. Her lace was stretched, and her elastic was stretched. And I told her, you do not want to be storing it like that. She didn't even know. She said, thank you for telling me. I didn't even know. How should I store it? And I showed her some alternatives. And that's actually the reason I decided to do this video and use that as the topic. But by doing it that way, I showed her, look, you're stretching this out, you're stretching this out, and you're stretching out that delicate lace. And you don't need to be doing that. And the wig head is not even as big as the wig, so none of it would have been stretched out if you had put it on a better way. Put the wig grip on, and it's still slipping. Put the wig grip on instead, and put the wig over that. You'll have a more secure hold, and nothing is getting stretched out. And she was amazed by that. She said, I didn't even think about that, but that's brilliant. And hopefully she'll start doing it that way. But that method is a very good way not to do it. Pins are another very good way not to do it. Another thing you definitely shouldn't ever do is store it on a wig head that is too big for it. You don't want it to ever be stretched on a wig head. You want to make sure the wig head is always smaller than the wig cap. Whatever you do, you want to make sure that this never experiences tension or stretching on or pulling on whatever you store it on. And again, as I said in the beginning, you want to make sure it's never hanging or pulling from this part or this part. Always this part where there isn't lace, where if I turn it inside out, you could see this is not lace, this is that more durable material, that stronger machine-made part of the wig. It's tougher, it can handle more. It's just a better place to hang your wig up. So these are my top do's and don'ts. Again, there are certainly many right ways and many wrong ways. I have not covered all of them because there are so many of them. So if you have other ideas, other tips of your own, please feel free to post them in the comments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.